best thing you can do as a woman is be selfish. Be selfish. Men put themselves first all the time. Men don't think about no kids, and they darn sure don't think about you. So why can't you do the same? I'm a single woman. I have no kids. I don't have a man, so I can do as I please. I'm gonna always put myself first. Who else would I put first?
From a mother isn't even unconditional, okay? Because all this comes down to self-love, okay? Most people, especially most women even, don't know how to love themselves, okay? A lot of women also have kids with losers because they didn't love themselves enough, because it all comes back to self, all of this. We live in a society where women are not taught how to love themselves. Matter of fact, women are told that it is selfish to love yourself. Imagine that. Women are told that you have to give everyone and everything around you something first before you even think about yourself, right? Like women in marriages setting the table for everyone else and then doing all the work, the cooking, the cleaning and everything. And then you have to wait for the dad, the father to eat first, right? If we were to claim that it's some sort of magical bond that just happens when a baby is conceived, likely from a man who didn't give two f***s. It's very unlikely that you found that 5 percentile. And it's very unlikely that you lived a fulfilled life. Most women on this planet have always had children young, okay? So in reality, most women have never actually had the opportunity to find themselves and fill their own heart. I think women are capable of growing love for their kids and love for themselves at the same time. Is it hard? I would say so, but I think women actually are capable of doing that. But again, that's just because of who women are. It all goes back to the first part of, conceiving the child with the demon, right? Because is it really self-love? Okay, this might tickle, this might hurt a little bit. Is it really self-love to have a child with somebody that doesn't love you? Okay? And I think at the time of a lot of women having children, they thought that man loved her, correct? On top of this, having a baby with demon, with a man that doesn't love you, because this is reality, we're living in reality hopefully now, it can literally affect your oxytocin, okay? It is the bonding chemical that we make. If you are in a relationship that's a horrible one, likely you are, because you're going to be raising your cortisol, okay? That is literally going to affect how you bond to a baby. So when I say literally having a baby with a loser is that detrimental, that it will literally affect how you bond with your child. That's why self-love is so important. So if women are in toxic, unhealthy relationships, which likely they are because men are not capable of loving women the way you imagine in your little fairy tale mind that they are, it will literally be detrimental for a baby. Stress or fear can actually slow or stall labor because oxytocin is needed for contractions. The mother is emotionally overwhelmed and undersupported or traumatized. Oxytocin may not rise like it normally would. This can contribute to delayed bonding, postpartum depression or anxiety, difficulty breastfeeding, a general sense of disconnection. This isn't like a joke. This isn't like a joke about me being like, there's no love out there. Like, I'm being so serious to not have kids with these losers. Like, it will destroy your life. It will probably destroy your child's life. Because it all comes down, once again, to self-love, okay? If you don't love yourself enough to not have a baby with a loser, if you don't love yourself enough to be strong enough to pick yourself back up after having a baby with a loser, it can literally destroy your life and the next generation. So it's not a fucking game. It's not this little game where everyone's like, but I want to try love, but I'm going to pick better. It's actually serious. This also just proves the point that women are the love creators. It's a theory, just a theory. Women are the source of all of this. Yeah.
These are 8 selfish habits that have actually just made my life better. Number 1, protecting my mornings. I'm not answering texts, phone calls. Unless there's an emergency, I don't need to hear somebody else's thoughts before I even get a chance to hear my own. Number 2, not feeling guilty about spending my hard-earned money on me, myself, and I. There's a difference between supporting somebody in need versus you making it my responsibility for your lack of planning. Number 3, saying no without over-explaining. I don't need to give you paragraphs to justify my boundaries. Number 4, my goals do come before your comfort. Number 5, not fixing other people's emotions. It is not my responsibility to regulate your emotions. Number 6, having standards for people I allow into my life. You don't need to do something to me for me to recognize and see that your character is not my cup of tea. Number 7, ending conversations when it gets disrespectful. The minute you start name calling, gaslighting, getting low, you have lost me. And number 8, if it's draining my energy, my resources, my time, I gotta go. Hope that helps.
You know what I realized was a huge lie when I grew up as a neurodivergent? The whole idea that you need to treat people the way you want to be treated. This piece of advice is not just bad, but it's also pretty dangerous for neurodivergents because it really promotes people pleasing. Because the advice basically says if you make other people feel good, then they're going to make you feel good too. And what does a neurodivergent who wants to be treated well do? They people please everyone and their mom in order to get people to treat them well. But then what happens is that people are going to see that you're willing to be taken advantage of because you're willing to do all these good things for people because you think it's going to make you be treated really nice in the long run. And reality is, that's simply just like the biggest lie in the whole universe. You need to treat yourself nice first, and then people will start treating you nice because you treat yourself nice. And society can easily sniff out someone who's been told, well, you should treat people the way you want to be treated, because they're always willing to do so much for other people without getting anything back.
When you want to be better, you need to be extremely selfish with yourself and extremely selfish with your time. I don't encourage being a selfish person, but I do encourage being selfish with yourself, meaning that you are so focused on becoming the best version of yourself that you do not give any room for anyone or anything that does not serve that or does not help that. When you want to truly be better and become better, there are a lot of sacrifices you need to make. And the first sacrifice you need to make is people pleasing. A lot of us are chronic people pleasers. We find it hard to disappoint people, and that hinders our personal growth, because until you can feel comfortable saying no to things that no longer serve you or saying no to people that no longer serve you and no longer help you to become the best version of yourself, you're not going to see that change. It starts with your mindset. When you want to become your dream woman and focus on yourself, then you need to shift your mind. Does this serve me? Does this work for me? Is this helping me get to where I want to get to? Is this person right for my life, right for where I'm going?
I don't know what beautiful lady needs to hear this, but you cannot fill other people's cups when your glass is empty. You need to be selfish with yourself. You need to pick yourself first. Your mental health, your physical health, everything. You go first, because guess what, babe? When you're trying to progress and do good things for you, there will always be distractions. There will always be people that want to lean on you, that need something from you. And I need you to understand that it is okay to say no. It is okay to set boundaries, to pick yourself, and not feel guilty about it.
I want to make this video very short and sweet. And it brings me no joy to talk about a topic like this. It has to be addressed. Men are very selfish, and that is something we ought to learn from them as women. Men leave situations that no longer benefit them. Men respect their boundaries, and they move on when they need to. A man can promise you something and never fulfill it if at that moment in time he doesn't feel the need to anymore. They have no loyalties to us. And I know firsthand how hard it is to walk away from a situation, from somebody that you love and something that you're desperately trying to make work. But if this person is not treating you right, not loving you right, not showing you any respect, please learn to walk away and put yourself first. It will only benefit you in the long run. Trust me.
The moment that you start shifting who you are and what you do simply for the purpose of holding on and keeping someone else in your life, that's the moment you've sold your soul for validation, and that's the moment you enter into living hell on earth. The easiest way to overcome this is to understand nothing that belongs to you can be taken from you. Anyone that is meant to be in your life is not going to leave you because you told them no, or because you set a boundary, or because you have a preference, or because you don't agree with them on something. A healthy relationship has a certain level of love and understanding and respect, to the point where unless a huge disagreement happens where you and them are simply just not compatible, it's not going to push them away. In fact, having boundaries and advocating for yourself will actually reveal who's only there to get validation from you and to drain your energy and build themselves up. So when you're feeling uncomfortable, but you stay quiet, or you avoid telling somebody no because you want to keep the peace, or you feel like you have to over-explain yourself to the point where you feel emotionally drained, that is your sign to detach yourself from these situations and go within to figure out what's actually important to you, and understand that you can't do that. You have to put yourself first, because if you're constantly compromising yourself for others, it's going to ruin your relationships.
Yes, I have a onesie on. Anyway, let's move forward. I recently have been reflecting on my parents, and in conversations about my career, one of the themes that keeps coming up is regret. And it is not something that they have realized, in particular my dad. It is not something that he has realized. It is something that is coming through in the discussion about choices that I'm making, successes of young people, all of that. What I have learned from the experience of discussing all of these things with my parents is that it is extremely important that you are selfish enough to choose what you need to live the life you were purposed for. And the immigrant experience is you leave your home country and you come to another country, and then oftentimes the weight and the pressure of being successful is placed on your shoulders. Now you need to take care of your family domestically, and you need to send money back home, and you need to figure out how to run a business in this new culture, and you need to do all these things. So it requires astronomical success to be able to maintain the cultural expectation while also succeeding enough to realize the level of success and dreams that you have. Like, that expectation is a heavy one. It's hard. It's like, you don't just gotta be rich. You gotta be like rich to be able to maintain that and not have any impact to whatever it is that you were like trying to attain. And what's really funny is that I don't think that my parents realized the juxtaposition between their experience of me and their experience of regret. Mainly because they haven't done the emotional work to understand that. But for one, I often get called selfish by my parents. I've moved across the country. I will say no. I will take a vacation that is like somewhere I wanted to experience in the world. And to them, they're like, you could be helping us like do stuff, but you're just selfish and you're just thinking of yourself, which they don't get angry at, but it comes through when they ask like, why do you need to go there? Why do you need to travel there? Well, because like one of my important goals is to see and experience the world and the wonders of like what God has created. Like, I genuinely want to experience that in my life. If I didn't get the chance to travel and see the world, I would have regret, right? And that means that I have to choose the disappointment of my parents when I make these decisions to go see the world, which is something they don't value. I think it's incredibly important, as a lesson I've taken from that, to ruthlessly prioritize everything that you need to do to live the life that you were purposed for. because you don't want to miss out on life because you made cultural, religious, like decisions that didn't align with your values, but you believed is exactly what you needed to do because that's what you were told by whatever system, And I hope that we all take that away from whatever we've been able to see in our parents and their regret and the things that they weren't able to do or choose. I hope you recognize that and you constantly and consistently choose exactly what you need in order to become who you want to become.
Just because I put myself first doesn't mean I put myself only. There's this weird stigma around people who prioritize themselves first and foremost. I prioritize myself. Yes, that means I get the number 1 spot. There's still a number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, on and on. I still have time for you. I still have love for you. I still have consideration, care, and respect for you. But I also have all of that for myself. And I find it very odd when you take the position and say, I'm going to first consult myself and see if what you've asked of me respects my boundaries, respects my healed self. Yeah, I'm gonna check my boundaries first. But as long as there's no issue, I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna give you what you ask for. I'm gonna make sure that you're happy and taken care of. But I'm also not going to ever put you above me. I'm not going to ever put your needs above mine. I'm not going to ever hurt myself to help you. I'm not going to lower myself to lift you up. Not anymore. That Anya is gone. That Anya is dead, okay? The constant disrespect and disregard killed her. As an adult, I need you to respect my rejection. You keep in coming, you keep in trying, you buzzing around to other people, trying to get them to push me or motivate me or manipulate me into what you need from me. You're disrespecting me. You're disregarding me. And you calling me selfish on top of all of that. By calling me selfish, you are basically saying, I don't believe you deserve good things. I don't believe you deserve to be considered. I don't believe that your needs should outweigh mine. What's more selfish than that? Isn't it funny how people only call you selfish when you say no to them? You're only selfish when someone can't get what they want from you. Funny how that works, right? I'll be selfish. I will be selfish because I've been selfless, and let me tell you, it almost ended my life. So you know what? Yeah, now I'm living for me because I tried to live for y'all. Okay? And you blew it. You absolutely blew it. You took advantage of me at every point. You ran me down and didn't give a goddamn about my mental health, my physical health, my financial health. You didn't care about any of it. What you cared about was what I could do for you. So what I can do for you now is tell you to figure it out yourself.
The only thing women should really learn from men is how to become more selfish and self-centered. Because men just do it naturally. They never stop chasing what they want. They will go after success, travel, start something new. They will never even ask, what if this hurts someone's feelings? Women will give up on everything. We'll change cities, plans, we'll change our whole identity for a man who probably wouldn't even pause for us. Men are taught that their purpose comes first, and women are taught that love does. But I think we're finally learning that love isn't meant to cost you your identity, and that you can love someone, still put yourself first.
Okay, story time. So I went to the post office today to return a package, and there were some girls who were in line behind me, and they were having a loud conversation, 2 black women, and I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. And one of the girls was like, I don't know, I'm just worried that I've become a little selfish lately. And her friend was like, you're not selfish at all. Like, explain to me, how have you been selfish lately? And the girl was like, I don't know, like I've been called selfish by 2 different people, and it makes me worry that I'm becoming selfish. Her friend was preaching. Her friend was like, people only call you selfish when they want you to do something or they want you to behave a certain way. And for whatever reason, you've set a boundary and decided that you don't want to. And so they're calling you selfish to manipulate you into doing the thing that they want anyway. And I was like, ooh, yes. And I wanted to turn around and be like, yeah, exactly. Like, but I didn't want them to know that I was eavesdropping on the conversation or make them uncomfortable. So I just mind my business. But I was definitely still listening. And the girl was talking about how, like, her mom called her selfish, and I think some guy in her life called her selfish.
And it was so funny because I have had this exact conversation with my girlfriends before, and even with my therapist, where I'm like, am I selfish? Like, is this instance me being selfish? And most of the time, it's not. Like, most of the women that I know in my life are not selfish people. And when we criticize ourselves for being selfish, it's for that exact reason. It's because someone else has called us selfish, or we're being guilted into doing something that for whatever reason we don't want to do. And what I want to bring into the next year, and what I love that women are starting to embrace now, is this idea of selfishness. And I don't mean selfishness in the sense of like, oh, everything is about me, I don't do anything for the people that I care about. Like, speaking for myself and the women in my life, I don't think that we could ever be that way. But I think selfishness in the sense of like knowledge of self, like knowing yourself well enough to know what you want to do and what you don't want to do, how you want to move in this world and how you don't want to move in this world, who you want to interact with and who you don't want to interact with. And being so sure of that, that nobody else's guilting or opinions will shift that for you. And that's what I think of when I think about being more selfish, is being more aware of yourself and moving through the world in a way that aligns with the way that you would ideally want to move through the world. And not being afraid of judgment from others, being called selfish, being seen as selfish, because ultimately there is no medal for sacrificing yourself for other people repetitively when you don't want to. Like, there is no medal. And people expect women to be these martyrs, especially Black women, especially for me, like as a first generation American, as like an eldest immigrant, like eldest daughter of immigrant parents. There are so many expectations that are placed on me of sacrifices that I need to make for my family, but I haven't chosen them. And I haven't chosen to carry those burdens. And some of them I will happily carry, and some of them I don't want to. And that doesn't make me selfish. Anyway, I just thought that they were preaching, and I thought that this was a lesson that I really needed to hear. And the timing was so funny because I had just been thinking about this concept of selfishness and how I want to bring more of that into 2024. And then I heard this conversation in the post office. So now I'm sharing it with y'all, and I hope that it's helpful. I hope that you can bring more knowledge of self and more healthy selfishness into 2024. And I hope that women continue to wake up and realize that this expectation that society places on us is not realistic and is not something to aspire to. And if you want to aspire to that, that's cool. But the key aspect of it is the choice. And you should be able to make that choice and not be called selfish.
There's a lot of pressure on single women to have endless capacity, availability, and accessibility to other people, sometimes especially their female friends. You have to be selfish when you are a single woman, especially if you're advancing in years. Just because you're single, it doesn't mean you have this endless amount of energy and time, kindness and forgiveness for other people. That's not the way it works. And I think that for me personally, if a friendship is not mutual and not reciprocal, I let it go. And I used to really struggle with that because I grew up with certain values that were passed down to me, one by my mother, and also the environment that I grew up in. Always this kind of forever theme. Be peaceable, always be forgiving. Remember that you're imperfect too. However, if somebody is demonstrating certain behaviors consistently, there's no grounds there for you to forgive or accept. That's just, if that behavior is impacting your mental health, if it's impacting you, you have a right to set a boundary. And I think I definitely had to work through feelings of being hesitant about cutting a friendship off, about ending a friendship, and about this idea that I must be available for them no matter what. No. That is not something that we can afford to be doing as single people. We also have limited energy resource. Actually, the majority of that can be spent on looking after ourselves It doesn't have to be spent on being endlessly available for other people. And the other thing I'll add in here as well, in my experience, sometimes it's married women who can be the most demanding. When they don't need you, when they don't want you, when they are consumed in their husband or children, you don't hear from them for dusk. And then suddenly when they have a bit of a wake-up moment, maybe some disappointment, or they feel like this is a season in their life where they want to find themselves again, they come back round. Me personally, I'm not available because I'm a real human being. I'm not there to be picked up and put down at will.
And I am the most important person in my life. Not my husband, not my kids, not my family, not my best friend. I am the most important person in my entire life. I would do anything for me. My desires are important to me. It's important to me that I get what I want because I deserve it. And I deserve it, and I want to give it to myself. No matter what source or what channel it comes from, I get to have it. And I will find a way to make it happen for myself. I don't look to one person as my source. I don't look to one job as my source. I know that my source is God and my source is infinite. And as long as I'm committed to getting what I want, I can have anything I want. I can always start over. I can always choose myself in new ways every day. I exist for me, and I exist to serve myself and to be served. I am not waiting around on anybody else. I don't need anyone. I'm not dependent or stuck anywhere, no matter what it feels like. I always have autonomy. I always have freedom. I can always walk away. I know that I have a unique purpose beyond being a wife, being a mother, raising kids, being a mom. I know that I have an identity that is outside of those things. Those are just roles that I can step into when the time comes for it, when there's a time for it. But that's not who I am inside. I am not mom. I am not wife. I am a unique individual with a unique purpose. I have passions. I have skills. I have interests. I am special. I don't live to serve anyone.
You need to be more selfish. Being selfish is your gateway to success. I want you to think of every successful person you know. Are they worried about what other people think? Are they worried about letting people down at the expense of their own health? Are they broke because they refuse to invest in themselves but invest time and money into everyone else? The answer is no. Selfish people understand that there is no prize for constantly putting others before them just to be seen as nice. Selfish people realize that you have to isolate yourself from the opinions of the world and decide that what you want and need to accomplish is more important than prioritizing everyone else's needs before your own.
There is nothing narcissistic about putting yourself first in your reality and understanding that universal laws are also going to put you first when you take care of you and prioritize yourself. This is how I have clients just like this. They are getting marriage proposals. They are getting people falling in love with them, real committed relationships and marriages happening for them by using the manifestation formula that you guys can download at the very top of my TikTok page to create this new identity internally. Now, the secret sauce behind what I teach is that you come first. You prioritize yourself first. You obsess over yourself first. You are number one first. You are the prize. You are the goal. Because we are taught every day, especially women, to be selfless, to put everyone else first, and you come last. Everyone else's needs are more important than yours. That is why we attract people who are narcissistic and we are the empaths. You have to understand what universal laws are actually doing in your favor. They are giving to you what you give to yourself. So if you consistently remain putting yourself last, identifying yourself as a victim, telling yourself you are not good enough, telling yourself that everybody is better than you, everybody else gets more than you, you're unworthy, you're undeserving, the universe just says, okay. It agrees with you. You are making mental commands through your identity, through your energetic state of what you are attracting in. When are you going to stop putting yourself last? When are you going to be important enough? Somebody asked me in my academy, like, Flora, I just want this guy to be obsessed with me. What do I do? Like, nothing is working. No picture that I post gets his attention. I'm like, girl, it's not the picture. You have to obsess over yourself first. Of course he's gonna obsess over you then. A universal cause and effect. You put you first, everybody else puts you first. You love on yourself first, everybody loves on you first. You have to be a priority in your life. So I'm begging you to stop being so selfless and start being selfish for you. You cannot pour into other people through an empty cup every day.
Isn't it funny how sometimes standing firm in your boundaries makes you the bad guy in someone else's story? But let's talk about why that's not a problem. When you stop allowing people to take advantage of you, disrespect you, and bring negativity into your space, it's easier for them to flip the script and call you the bad guy than to take accountability for their behavior. For example, simply walking away from toxic family dynamics, cutting off friendships that no longer align with your growth, ending relationships with partners who disrespect or mistreat you. Truth is, boundaries are about protecting your peace and not punishing others. It's okay to outgrow people or realize their energy no longer serves the life that you are building. Sometimes you have to wear the villain cape in someone else's story to be the hero in your own, and that's okay. You're not wrong for prioritizing your peace and your mental health. People who truly value you will respect your boundaries and not push against them. It's your job to make everyone comfortable, especially at the expense of your peace. Set your boundaries. Stand firm. Let people adjust or walk away. Either way, you'll be better off.
The part that really scares people the most about a self-empowered woman, a woman who is mastered in herself, and a woman who centers herself in her life, is the fact that they won't have access to her. It's the fact that they won't measure up to what her standards will now be. The fact that they are no longer like her anymore. And this goes for men and women alike. Shame and fear are very low frequencies that most people tend to live their life in. This is due to survival mode and just never coming out of that place in their life. And when a woman rises out of that, when she becomes autonomous and can make moves how she needs to, she begins to center herself. And I know we talk about decenter men. Saying that alone in a way still centers them. The journey isn't about pulling them out of your life and, taking them off a pedestal. Although, yes, you should, but you should be centering self. But women aren't taught to center self. Women are taught to be selfless. If a woman says that she doesn't want to have children, they call her selfish. What are you going to do with your time? As if having kids is an entertainment source for a woman for the rest of her life. If she's single, what do you do in your free time? You still go out to eat? You go to the movies? Who do you hang out with? People always have to associate woman to someone else. But when a woman is associated with self, it's like a cognitive dissonance. They don't really know what to make of it because this is not what women are supposed to be here for. They've been raised to believe that a woman is the companion of a man, that she's helpless and cannot do anything by herself. So women, when they're given the tools to thrive, we see that they thrive. We can look at so many communities. We can look through history and see what women are capable of doing, once they have the tools and have the determination to become who it is that they want to be. But a lot of women remain small. They keep themselves small and they keep other women small as well. And they internalize that misogyny. A lot of women internally look down on other women. They think that woman should be a man's companion. They follow the same dogma that is pushed onto them. They internalize it and then they push it onto other women. So when a woman acts out of that character that's created for her, they have to shame her. And unfortunately, this happens for many young girls, and they grow up and they get conditioned, or sometimes they just seek safety. They're scared of the world. And again, fear and shame are very low level frequencies that most people just operate from. So some people never get out of that place, and some women never discover who it is that they are.
How we're going to make sure that you have the most dangerously magnetic energy, that you're just attracting everything that you want in your life, like with just ease. Like you are just getting there with ease. And this just doesn't happen with just like hoping and wishing and like this energy. And this is something that I am going to tell you how you're going to do this. Notice that any time that I started attracting everything that I want is when I'm the most selfish. As someone who's been a people pleaser for like my entire life, to the girls who are like, I'm a people pleaser and I'm trying to be selfish, you're not being selfish enough.
I can guarantee you that. To truly be selfish and truly choose yourself and start really acting like it. That I started becoming more selfish, as in like, this doesn't work for me. Like starting to not please anymore life with the lens of like, how am I gonna make my life better and easier right now? Like, how am I gonna help myself work towards my goals tonight or today, and does that work for me? Because before I always put every single person before me, and I was like trying to be selfish in a way of like, I'm gonna work on this and then I'm also gonna see them like trying to compromise. But the second that I started going head first with actually choosing myself, actually being selfish, is when I actually started attracting everything. It's hyper focused on yourself. And how do you become hyper focused? Is like, you need to truly become present in your own life. When you're not living like a main character in your own life, as in like, as if someone was following you around every single day, sometimes then we are focused on everyone else's life, and that's when we are like in the more chase energy. So if you want to be the one that's like attracting everything, you need to pull your energy back to you and be present with your life and what you need to do. And a lot of that does come with just practicing becoming present, practicing with like romanticizing your life, becoming more present in your daily life, and also keeping the promises to yourself. That combination over time makes you literally the most powerful person and makes you so magnetic. People love people who choose themselves or who are focused on themselves and don't need anything from you, who are so hyper focused and pulling their energy and pouring it into themselves. Is when all the relationships, the finances, the opportunities, the friendships, like all those things just come to me without trying, without any effort. Like the effortlessness is what you want. Why would we want to chase and feel anxious and, worry about what we're gonna get? But that is really the main three things that you focus on to become the attractor.
This 2026, I plan on being more selfish and a bigger bitch. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Sisterly Advice from an Only Child. Now, I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions. I don't feel like I really stick to them very often, but I am one for learning life lessons and giving that advice to you guys. This year has been a bit of a roller coaster for me, but I think the biggest thing that I have learned and the biggest thing that I'm saying to a lot of my friends right now is to pull your energy back into yourself. And the easier way to say that is to just be a little bit more selfish. Now, when I'm talking about being selfish, I never mean in terms of hurting other people or being selfish to the extent of someone's detriment. But what I do mean is that you're making sure you're living your most authentic life because you're doing what you really want to do. The fair warning is you're really gonna find that things are just happening for you, but the bad thing is that the people who aren't meant to stay in your life are going to leave. I think that there's something really good about that because these moments in life really help you see the people who are meant to really be there for you and who really align with the kind of person you want to be, the kind of life you want to live, and the people who maybe just don't quite fit that equation are just going to naturally bow out. And sometimes it comes with a bit of tears. Sometimes it comes with a bit of what the f. Some of my friends would even say that I need to be a bigger bitch. The thing that I am learning and that I will continue to learn, because life really seems to want to teach me this at the moment, is that you need to put yourself above everyone else because it's your life. Being that little bit of selfish and that little bit of not putting everyone else's needs above your own is just going to benefit you in life in the long run. I hope it's something that I don't continue to learn in the same harsh way, but I hope that it's something that I can keep more in mind this coming year, and I hope that it's something that you guys can think of as well. Here's to 2026. I hope you guys have a very happy new year, however it looks. I'll personally be at home just chilling. I hope it's filled with a lot of love and light, and I'll see you in the next year. Bye!